Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to add the show users page. I'm envisioning a page where you'll have the user's information and a display of all of the articles that the user has created. So I have my server running. If you go to the preview page, let's say we want to show user with ID 5. So users/5, hit enter. The action show could not be found for users controller. So let's add the show action. So in your users controller, under update over here, I'm going to add a define show. And over here, we're going to say add user equals user.find params square bracket :ID close square bracket close parentheses. So basically, we want to find the user based on the ID that's provided, and then we want to display something. So let's see what that did. Over here, I reload. Missing template user show. So let's build a show template. So under users, right click, new file, show.html.erb. Pull it up. So first we want to add our title. So h1. align equals center, and we want to say welcome to, and we want to display the user's username. So embedded Ruby equals at user.username, close embedded Ruby, then I'll put an apostrophe s and then page, and then close the h1 tag. And then I want to display a profile image for the user. And we're going to use this service called Gravatar. Okay? This is a free service, and you can basically associate an image with your email address. And since our users have an email address as an attribute, we can simply use that to grab their profile image from this website. And we'll see how to do that in a second. So first, I want to create a div class of row, and then I'll say div class equals call md4, and then call -md -offset -4, and then another class of center. Close the div and close the row. Save that. Now over here, I'm going to display the user's profile image. So embedded Ruby equals, and I'll define a method, and I'll call it gravatar_4, and then I'll give it the user object. Now, where am I getting this user object from? Remember, we're passing it on in the show action right here at user. So user object, and then close embedded Ruby tag, save that. And then h4 align equals center, and then I'll say at user.username close embedded Ruby apostrophe s articles, and close the h4. What I'm planning to do here is I want to display a listing of all of the user's articles. Okay? And we'll construct that right after we are done with our Gravatar for the user. So let's do the Gravatar first. If I reload the page right now after saving, it's going to complain about the Gravatar for method since we don't have that. So let's define that. Since this is in a view, any method that you use which helps in your views, you can put it in the app helpers. So here we have application helper. I'm going to define the Gravatar for method here. So over here, I'll say define Gravatar_4, and then I'll pass it a user object, end. Okay, so before we construct this method, we need to learn a few things about how we're going to do this. So from the documentation provided in the Gravatar website, we can learn that Gravatar URLs are based on a MD5 hash of the user's email address, okay? And in Ruby, this MD5 algorithm is implemented using the hex digest method. So with that info, we can start building our gravatar form method. So we'll first create a variable, gravatar underscore ID, and then we'll say digest, D with a caps, colon, colon, MD5, colon, colon, hex digest. And then we'll, within parentheses, we'll give it the user.email.downcase, okay? And then using this ID, we can construct the URL. So gravatar underscore URL equals, within quotes, https://secure.gravatar.com/avatar/ open brace gravatar underscore ID, close brace, close quote, and then an image tag. And we'll say gravatar underscore URL, alt, we'll say user.username, class. I want to display it as a circular gravatar. So image dash circle, close quote, close parentheses, save that. And if you're wondering where I got this class from, I got it from getbootstrap.com. This basically is a class provided by Bootstrap. It basically cuts out the corners to give it a circular image. All right, so now we have our gravatar for method. Now, if I go over here, if I reload the page, welcome to Mashur 3's page, there's the gravatar showing up. Now, there is no gravatar for that email address that Mashur 3 has. So I'm going to create a user who actually has a gravatar, which is my email address. So I'm going to do sign up, and I'll create a username, Mashur1, email address, mashur.hussain@gmail.com, password, I'll use password, sign up. Okay, so there's Mashur1, who just got created. And over here, let me jump on Rails console to see the ID. User.oh, last one, Mashur Gmail, user ID is 7. So I'll go to users/7, hit enter. There it is. There's a profile image showing up. Now this profile image is too small. I want it to be bigger, okay? We can update our gravatar for method to pass in a size option for the size of the image. So let's do that. Over here, we're going to say options equal open brace size colon 80 close brace close parentheses. And then right under this line where you're constructing the gravatar ID, enter in size equals options, open square bracket, colon size, close square bracket. Now over here in your gravatar URL, right at the end, after you provide the gravatar ID, close brace, type in question mark S equals pound, open brace, size, close brace, and then close quote, save that. Now back here, I'll reload the page. Okay, so this is the default size, nothing's changed. But if I go to my user show page, and over here where I'm passing in gravatar for user, I'll put a comma and pass in the size. So size, I'll say 150. Save that. Going to reload this page. Notice how the image has increased in size. Perfect. So our gravatar functionality is working. All right. So now I want to list all of the articles that this user has created, right? I want to list only their articles, not all the articles in the app, but just the ones created by this user. Now, if you go to the articles page, you'll notice there's already something like this that we want in this articles index page, which is a listing of all the articles. we can use this view, and instead of passing in all articles, we can just pass in the user's articles. And then we can get this same display without having to do too much more work, right? So let's look at this. Back at our articles folder, if you go to the index.html ERB, this is what's doing that. It's going into the database, picking up every article, and then listing them out. So what I'll do is, under my views articles folder, I'll create a new file for a new partial, and I'll call it article.html.erb. So _article.html.erb. And then from this articles.each line, I'll copy all of this, Command X, go to my article partial that I just created, Command V, save that, and in my index page, I will simply say embedded Ruby equals render article. So it'll render the partial. Okay, so let's see if I broke my articles listing or if it's still working. If I reload the page, okay, this is still working. But now that I have the partial, if I go to the partial, this is working with @articles instance variable. Now, if I pass in an instance variable that I'm creating in the user show option, that will not be called @articles. So we have to name this something more generic. And then when we're calling this, we'll pass in the instance variable from the action that we're calling it from. So over here, I'll simply call this obj. So object.each do article, and any reference to @articles we have to change here. Okay, that was the only reference. Perfect. So make sure you save this, and then in the index.html ERB over here, we'll put a comma, and then we'll say obj : space @articles. So what we're essentially saying is that for this article partial, use @articles as the value for obj, as the value for this, okay? So now from the show action, which is our user's show action, we can simply render that same partial. So embedded Ruby equals render, but notice now this is in a different folder. This is in the articles folder. So I have to give it the full path. So render articles/article, which is the partial. And here I'll have to say obj : @user.articles. And if you remember, @user.articles lists out all the articles associated with the user. Okay? And then close embedded Ruby, save that. Now let's try it out. Over here, I will go to, actually, let me first assign a couple of articles to my user. So I'll do article.all. And I see that my first article does not have a user ID, so article2. So I'll do something like this. Article equals article.find2. Then article.user equals user.last, which is my user with the gravatar. Then article.save. Okay, now let's do it for another article also. Article.all. My article 15 has no user ID either, so I'll just say article1 equals article.find15. Now I'll say article1.user equals user.last. Then I'll say article1.save. Okay, so now let me go to user 7's show page. So users/7. Hit enter. There it is. Welcome to Mashur's page. There's the profile picture, Mashur wants articles, and there are the two articles that Mashur created. Perfect. So my show action, the profile image, and my show listings are all working correctly. So let's go ahead and make a commit of our code at this time. I'm going to exit out of the console. I'll also make sure that I shut down my server. Okay, so git add -a, git commit -m, create show action and add gravatar image, close quote, hit enter. Now git push to push our code to our GitHub repository. All right, perfect. Now that's all I want to cover in this video. I'll see you in the next one.